Was a sign of disrespect, and he knows that if he kills Drandalin after I followed through on my end of the bargain, then it is him who is dishonorable at that point. And that's something he would not live with. And he also knows that if he does that, he will have made an enemy out of someone who knows quite a few secrets of the cult that he's trying to keep hush-hush. At that point, there is nothing in the world stopping me from going and telling everyone about him.
I have an idea. It's a bad idea.
I'm all ears. I love those are my favorites.
Okay, I think you need to roll with Finley's attitude and confidence. Say it's a good idea no matter what comes out.
Urns isn't that kind of guy. Lilash, you disrespected him. Is it not? Would it not be reasonable to think that he may want to punish you?
He already has punished me.
Punish you more.
If he wishes to punish me, he'll find other means to do so, but killing Drandalin, I will have nothing left to lose.
Follow with me here. Is it not reasonable?
It is reasonable, Kurtz.
What if? Because we all know that I'm that kind of heartless bastard who loves killing things.
So I've noticed.
I present the urns, and I have you all tied up like we had Strongbraid tied up in the bandit mines, and say that I wish to cut a deal with him. I present you. I present the urns. I present the rest of the party, cutting the few of us that may be able to come off as heartless bastards. I say that maybe I want to be the new captain of the guard, since I disposed of the last one. That gets us an in. Meanwhile, your manacles and your shackles are closed, not locked. We get in. We make our exchange, we have our talk, maybe we even get a private talk with him. And then once our confidence is trusted, once the deal is struck, we strike.
It is a very clever plan, Kurtz. You're a very clever man, but it's also extremely risky. He has seen you before. He's seen you with me. He knows that we know each other. He wouldn't trust you. It would take a lot more than that for him to trust you.
No matter what we do, it's going to be risky. If you think the best chance in getting your husband back, Lilash, is just leaving the goods at the drop point and heading back to Brandylac, then that's what we should do. The question after that is what state do we leave Brandylac in? We still leave it in the hands of this corrupt mayor, who is the figurehead, at least in this part of the world, of some dangerous cult. Do we just walk away from that and head back to Candoria with the fleece and perhaps you and your husband, and leave your town and its people behind?
I don't know what's going to happen after I get Drandalin back. I don't know if I'm going to try to run. I don't even know if the fleece will work. But my first concern is getting him back. I do think just dropping the urns off and leaving is our best option.
Well, I for one fucking love your plan, Kurtz. Like that was pretty. That was some good noggin work in there. But listen, in the end of the day, we could sit here and twiddle our thumbs about plans all day long. But if this is Lilash, you're the one who has to make the decision here, love, because you have to live with the consequences of it too. So if you're fine dropping off this stuff and then nothing happens, and yeah, I think you've kind of come at the end of your rope here with us, darling. And I don't mean that in any sort of negative or mean sort of way. I just feel like we're trying to help you here at every turn that I could think of, besides some other things here and there. But all in all, we're all on the same team here, and I think I can't speak for the rest of my crew here, but the overall consensus here, we're probably going to deal with your friend Kaine here one way or another. It's just a matter of if you want to do it now or we can try on our own later. But that's kind of up to your decision at this point.
I agree.
Well,
thank you, Kurtz.
If it is my decision and the consequences are mine to bear, I would much rather do what I've been told before and just make the drop-off and return home.
All right. So the drop-off it is.
Okay.
All right.
Any opposition from Strongbraid or Rin?
This is what you think If this is what you think is best, Lilash, then we should get the business done. I do think that both of your plans were good and maybe had a better chance of working, Kurtz and Finley. But it's not. Drandolin is not our husband, and this is all. We're all here because of Lilash. We should leave this final choice in her hands.
Oi.
If you'd still like, I have Orion. He can keep an eye on it if you'd like. But if you wish to leave it as is, we can.
I'd much rather play it safe with everything that I have at stake here.
All right.
I appreciate all of your help and all of your cleverness. I really do. And after I have Drandolin back, whatever you choose to Kaine, he deserves it. But for right now, he's all I have, and I haven't lost him yet, and I'm not going to let it happen.
I'll walk up to Lilash and kind of just put a gentle hand on her tiny, tiny head. And just look at her. Lilash, we all make choices in life. But in the end, it's our choices that make us. I understand your need, your desire to do what you think is right. But maybe you need to think about what is morally right here. We'll make this choice. We'll leave it. We'll go back. And something will happen. But remember, that was your choice. And it will stay with you until the worms feast on you. And I'll just kind of gently pat her on the head and walk away.
Will we be heading back to your place afterwards, Lilash, or should we be heading to Puck?
We can head back to Brandilek, and if you all wish to talk to Puck, that's fine, but I will be needing to go back to the house, because I'm assuming they'll bring Drandolin there, or I'll have to wait there for their message. I'm not sure how they'll get in contact with me. They change it up every now and then, so...
All right, well, we can convene at your home after we set these down.
Okay, so she knows the direction to go from where you guys are to the drop point. It is maybe a couple hours from where you are to get to it, and then it's maybe a couple hours from there back to Brandilek. So you guys can start making your way towards that direction. You guys have left the chests. You're carrying all 4 of the urns. There's been no changes. They're all still glowing. It's a very faint glow, so it's not like it's a beacon to catch people's attention and stuff like that. But you're making your way towards that. If there's anything else you guys want to talk about or do along the way, but until someone says something otherwise, you guys will be working your way until everyone's done.
Yeah. Can I take a look at these urns and see if there's any religious filigree or connotations to them?
Sure.
What role would that be?
You can do an Arcana check.
Can I do a religion check?
Sure, yeah, religion would be, yeah, that would be a better check.
15.
So, like, what specifically are you looking for?
I want to see if these are linked to any sort of religious action. Not only the sisters, but also since Kurtz grew up in a sort of like outlying town, sort of like old gods or superstitions or anything like that. If there's anything that he may know and tying with my backstory to either the goddesses or some old god or something like that.
Okay, so after careful investigation of these urns, you actually find nothing on there that ties any way to the gods, which a lot of magical things in this world do have some kind of divination tie, either that or to some of the schools of magic that fall under the Revenant. You don't see any of those ties anywhere on this urn.
Since it didn't break when I tried to smash it on the ground, I want to take my hatchet and just lightly tap it with the blunt end and see if it cracks.
It does not.
Is there anything inside of it?
give me an investigation check for just all this fiddling around with it.
14.
All right, so they are sealed on the top, and the urn itself inside of it, as moving it around and trying to see maybe what the contents are, it does feel like the contents are somewhere in between a liquid and a solid, kind of like have you guys played with oobleck?
No, but like a gel.
Kind of, yeah, it's like cornstarch and water, like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
feel
yeah,
where it's
yeah,
like pretty. That's kind of how it feels like as you move it, where it definitely, like, as you rotate, the contents do shift in it, but it's not like water where it just splashes around.
So I imagine we're kind of like walking a little bit ahead as we're marching to the drop point or whatever, like me and Rin side by side with the other three.
Kurt's just shaking the urn like a Christmas present.
This kind of reminds me of when we first met, Rin. Why were you studying the koi back in that stream?
They're valuable. There should be a record of them. There should be mention, and people should know about them. They have a long history of myth, folklore, as well as a good amount of magic still inside them. I believe that they're almost like a wonder of the world, and they should be recognized as such.
Growing up among the Bane, we don't really believe much in fate or coincidence. We believe in strength and making our own path. But to see these same images in the place where we first met does seem a little strange to me.
It's understandable for a dwarf to think more in the brute strength. But yes, the coincidence does not escape me. I am certain there is something far more peculiar about this coincidence. I don't know if it's divine, or I don't know if there's some underlying toe that seems to pull things together, but yes.
Do you have any theories on why they're so important?
The koi themselves, I have yet to understand their true history. I haven't really uncovered the specifics of what created them and what they mean to the world, but I know that they're not evil. There's no sinister nature to them, and I wouldn't imagine anything tied in with their essence would have any kind of negative consequence for interacting with them. My greatest fear is that these urns might be tied to them, that perhaps if these urns are destroyed or somehow tainted, that the actual fish themselves might become corrupted or destroyed themselves. They might be tied.
Give me a history check, Rin.
So you don't think if we lose them that Kaine and his followers could use them for evil means?
Before I answer.
So going with your previous studies of things, and then you took so much time while looking at the koi the first time when you guys all first met, you do recall a legend. No one has seen this in person, but you do remember hearing a legend about these specific koi, which may have led you to them in the first place, unbeknownst to everybody else. But the lore with these koi is that there is some great waterfall, whether it be literal or metaphorical, that these fish will eventually come to in their life, whether it's part of spawning or just symbolically a struggle. But if they're able to overcome and climb this waterfall, the lore is that they can turn into dragons. But nobody has seen this or anything like that.
So Strongbraid, I don't necessarily know if if he could make it evil, but there is a small little legend that I don't necessarily know if it's fully true. Is they believe that if the koi achieve their ultimate objective, they can transcend from fish to dragon. It's a
Well,
very old lore.
not all dragons are bad.
No, certainly not. But as to whether or not this is true, I'm not certain either. But if it is somehow tied in, and if these jars here, as I kind of like hold the one here, if this one is housing a koi that is in mid-transition to becoming fat, then a dragon egg, in a sense, like this would be very valuable and could potentially be quite a problem if held in the wrong hands. But
Speaking of bad, I've noticed you writing a lot of stuff down in that big book of yours. You know, I don't know exactly what it is you're doing, but for some reason I feel like that it's important, and I wouldn't want to see you meet an untimely end. Maybe we should be a little more careful with our other traveling companions until we get to know them a little better.
As Kurt shakes the possible dragon egg into a scramble. What the fuck is in here?
Rin will look back at him and go, Yes, that's probably a very wise precaution. If worst comes to worst, Strongbraid, I would be honored to consider you a true ally, and I will be happy to stand by your side if the tables turn.
How loud is this conversation?
I would have like dropped it low when I got to this part. So I don't know. You know.
And I will try to time it when I hear him going, "What is this?"
Even Finley, although I do find him quite a joy to travel with. He's humorous and lighthearted, and I think that we need that now. But I think there's something more between the two of them than we can see.
It's violence.
Possible. I mean, Finley seems to be the most pleasant of chaps I have ever encountered. He probably keeps Kurtz in line. Without him there, he might actually have a bit more of an infamy rather than his fame for trying to be a good person. I think Finley is able to keep him as a moral compass, pointing him at least in somewhat of a decent direction, or perhaps maybe venting out his anger in the right way. Maybe Finley has connections with certain, what you would call, ladies of the night.
Well, I've never been one to trust people I don't know, or to trust much of anyone at all, but if things do go south between this band, I will stand between you and them. If it comes to that.
Quick question, DM.
Yes.
Strongbraid knows of Kurtz's past. Rin alluded that he knows of Kurtz's past. Or not Strongbraid. Finley knows. Rin knows. Or at least alluded that he knows. Strongbraid doesn't know why Kurtz is famous.
Okay.
And like, we'll put a hand on his kind of hump shoulder area for Strongbraid.
Yeah.
And just kind of do the silent, like, thank you, and giving that connection of, I appreciate it.
Then, I'd probably ask more questions about the herd or something. Talk about dragons, start talking about dragons.
Now, none of you guys have ever seen a dragon, and nobody that you know of has ever seen a dragon. So they're one of those, like, mythology things that everyone knows may exist, that they're... What's that?
Like in stories and stuff, like there's good dragons and bad dragons.
Right.
And fight each other and...
Right. But just so the context of this works, you guys are learning what the worlds we go through, these
Yeah.
So, dragons in this world are just stories, as far as anyone knows. No one has ever seen one.
Is there like a most famous dragon story?
Just typical, like, so the main three deities, the sisters for this world, are the most prevalent gods. And then there may be some others that creep up of people on other stuff, but the traditional deities that are in normal games, they are they're all story. Like people may know of them, but there are not many people who actually believe in them, and the dragons are gonna fall into the same category of their stories of there may be dragon gods and they may have had dragons and stuff like that, but it's more of a thing that, like, until anyone actually ever saw one, they're not real. It's just it's an ideology kind of a thing, not a
Sure.
you know, if you cross this mountain, there's this one dragon. You know, like, there's
Right,
nothing
yeah.
like that.
As Kurtz is walking, he'll just kind of absentmindedly say to Finley, "I'd like to fight a dragon one day."
You know, I've never seen one or anything, but that would be kind of badass to do. I mean, that would. I think you could probably take. Yeah, you could probably take a. You're pretty fucking scary when you really want to be, aren't you? But, and as I see him shake his egg, I'm like kind of like shaking it too a little bit. Like, what do you think is in these things? I mean, I can't really open mine.
Do you want to try and open it?
Yes.
Yes. I kind of want to try and open it too.
All right. Are we like the caboose of the group? Everyone else, we're kind
Apparently.
of like,
Yeah.
Yeah, Strongbraid
Oh.
and
I'll suddenly
Rin
pass
are
my
the
hand
very
out.
front.
All right. I mean, I saw you kind of looking at it before, but I did you try to open it at all, or just look at it?
I just looked at it. Sounds
All right.
fluid inside, so I mean, maybe it's a potion.
Holy shit! That you could. Yeah. And then I'm like, can I inspect it to see if there's like some sort of like button mechanism to open it, or like twist a certain way? You know, like when you try to open a jar and it's
Right.
like the lid's not on right or something.
It's like Italian, so it opens to the left instead of to the right.
You have to squeeze it to get the child
Making it
walk off.
tighter. Yeah.
So if you start actually looking at the top of where it would be sealed, it doesn't appear to be a cork. There doesn't seem to be a lid. Not a magical barrier. You can't really tell what it is, but when you're looking at the top of where the lid, quote unquote, would be, you can't actually discern any way to open the urn.
It's like all one piece, essentially.
Essentially, yeah.
God damn. Now that you freaking told me the history, I'm just like, egg.
I mean, I'm not really seeing like a line or anything of like someone to like pry it open. I saw you throw it on the ground, and that didn't do shit. So, I mean, I'm open to suggestions here, but I'm like, as I'm like talking, like trying to like knock on it, like smell it a little bit, lick it, you know, see if anything.
Mhm.
Do
And the more you
Harry Potter thing.
the more you play with it, the more you become confident in like the structural stability and strength of this thing. It's not a weak thing that you got to be fragile with. It's very robust.
I'm not really getting a beat on this thing, Kurtz. Which is unfortunate, because what if there was like super magical powers, like makes you like super strong, or you could fly or something?
What if it turns us into dragons?
Or into fish.
Dragon
Or
fish.
what else is
carp.
cool? Like a cyclops or something. That'd be kind of cool. Like you get all big or something. Or no, dragon. That's pretty cool.
How's this,
That's
Finley?
very unfortunate.
When we kill Marcus, we'll take one and see if we can open it.
Marcus?
Marcus
Kaine?
is
He
dead.
killed Marcus.
Did you mean Kaine?
Marcus.
Or Kaine, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, isn't he dead? Did I miss something?
He's a revenant. He's a revenant now. He's gonna come after my ass.
He's way dead.
The thing is,
All right.
can't hold a sword with one hand.
Worst case scenario, we're going after this Kaine guy anyway, right? Speaking of which, we should probably really talk about that plan. Like, so we're gonna drop this stuff off with this bad guy, and are we just kind of wiping our hands with Lilash at that point? Because, I mean, I kind of feel like we did our due diligence at that point, and we can move on to a bigger picture of.
Are you
Taking
saying
this
this
guy
in
out.
front of Lilash and Devis?
Oh no, we're all the way at the back of the caboose, man. We're like,
Oh, just you two are talking then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me and Finley are
Okay.
the gray area of this party, apparently.
Yeah.
I'll just kind of nod. Well, I did make a deal with her, so I'm not completely washing my hands whether her husband's alive or her husband's a rotting pile of bones, which between you and me, I think is the most likely.
Fingers crossed, man. But yeah, anyway.
Fingers
yeah.
crossed, exactly. Yeah. No, it's about time you settled down.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know if I'm a settling down kind of a guy. You know,
She's a nice girl, though. I mean, if anything, you can build it throughout the years. You halflings live for a while.
could always come back. You know.
Exactly.
Sure.
Regardless.
Yeah, one thing at a time. You know,
I don't
maybe
have
we
any girls on this zip code. Yeah.
She has work for me to do, so I wouldn't say I'm completely wiping my hands of the situation. Kaine, on the other hand, well, my friend, I'm a very capable person, but I mean, you saw what he did in the village, deflecting a stone with his sword. I don't even know if I could do that. And I've seen many unbelievable things and done unbelievable things. So maybe it's best that we let this stew for a little bit and take what we can from this whole adventure.
sometimes patience can be a virtue, especially if the striking blow is that's what we're going for here at some point. Maybe pulling punches here in the beginning and letting him get what he wants might actually be a good play, and we can come back and circle back to it, if you will.
Sorry,
Exactly.
There was a bit of an earthquake here.
Oh shit.
Oh.
What?
Yeah, we just had 2 jolts.
Dang.
Yeah.
The dragons have been unleashed.
No,
Yeah,
we're good. It was just like the sudden dun-dun, and the dun-dun.
I just felt that too.
Okay.
Really?
Hold on, let's see if Yellowstone explodes. Because if it does,
You guys
sorry,
touched the
guys.
urns. It's your fault.
If Yellowstone explodes, I'm going Arma fucking Daisy over here, getting my Mosin and about to go snipe some people for food and water.
Did you survive the explosion? I think you're within the zone.
I am in the zone, but Missoula's in a valley. We're actually protected by mountains on all sides. Interesting fact. Let's get back to D&D before I die.
I mean,
Let's finish the episode.
How do you want to spend your last few moments?
Killing
D&D,
Lilac.
man.
I don't finish the quest. Yeah.
Hashtag Curse Glatskin for life. Making the list.